In today's case, we will be going with the Antec C8 dual chamber case with support for three 360mm radiators. It even has support for 140mm fans at the rear vertical mount. It has a full mesh panel on the top, and it's got a seamless glass design, so you can view all of your components from the front or from the side window. Now, the top and rear also has plenty of ventilation, so we're not gonna have restricted airflow, and the bottom of the case can also help bring in some fresh air. And best of all, we have plenty of room for our 4000 series graphics cards. We can get this in black and white, and it's only $129.99. So because we're theming it towards Tekken, I'm thinking I'm gonna start with the back panel, and I took a lot of inspiration from this picture on screen here. I love all of the neon signs, the billboards, the apartments. It really stands out to me, and I think it could look cool in a Tekken themed build. Now, unfortunately, the hardware store didn't have the proper material that I wanted to use. They also didn't have 3mm ply, so I'm going to have to go with 3mm MDF. Not ideal, it will work, but MDF actually soaks in moisture and it swells, so I'm gonna apply a sealer before I actually do any paint work. But we've got the laser machine right here, and we're gonna be cutting that out, creating some buildings, some billboards. So we'll put that first piece together and we'll see where else we can add more. So our customization is heavily based on the map Urban Square. In the surroundings, you can see loads of apartments and billboards, as well as shop fronts. And being based in New York, you have loads of brick walls with graffiti. So we've got a really early start today. It's meant to be super hot today, but this is currently where we're up to. I've got the little mini aircon installed on there. We've also got some balconies for some apartments as well. And these are where the billboard signs are gonna go. I still need to do a lot more detailing, and I also need to sand it down because there is some glue on the top, down the bottom. And this is our second piece. This is actually gonna be the front window, and we've laser etched some brick pattern into there. And I'm going to kind of graffiti on the Tekken 8 logo, which I think will look pretty cool. We've also got more apartments which I need to build out. Two more here, and then we've got a shop front which is gonna wrap around the front of the case, and more billboards. And I wanna put the health status bar from Tekken up the top. I think that'll be pretty cool. This is our apartment customization, which is all laser cut and etched. And I even inlaid it to create a bit of a balcony for each apartment. I wanted the shop front to wrap around the front of the case, and I have something pretty cool planned for this later in the video. Now that a lot of the wood is prepped and all together, I need to give it a base coat, because without this wood being sealed, it's just gonna soak up the paint. It's gonna get all fluffy, and that's not what we want. So we've got some Mod Podge here, and to save a bit of time, I'm also gonna add some black paint to the Mod Podge so it acts as the base coat for the whole build. Once that dries, we can then go in with the finer details, the airbrush. For me, the brickwork was super important to get right. Bricks are never really one single color. They have slightly different shades, so I made sure to take my time and add lighter shades into the sections to make it more realistic. Even the shop roof was too red for my liking, so we wanted to grime it up a bit. With all of the individual parts of the shop front painted, you can see how well it's coming together. The shop front also acts as a good support for joining the two pieces together. For the graffiti part, I took the Tekken logo and I cut it out with our vinyl plotter. Using the airbrush, I was able to give a nice even coat of white paint. We also did the same for the top panel. The white paint has a primer built in, so there's no need for a base coat. The white paint was a nice base layer to make the red pop and stand out more. If I put the red on a darker layer, it would leave it looking a little more dull. Our shop front we wanted to make use of by putting some mini boxes of our partners' products standing in the window. I thought this was a cool little Easter egg that we could include. For the billboards, we took our partners' logos and added some transparent material over the top to give it more support, strength and protection, and then framed them to hide the edges when we join them into the framing. We also made the Tekken health bar status by using resin mixed with gold mica powder to give that swell effect. Today's motherboard is a newer release from MSI. This is the Z790 Carbon Wi-Fi 2, and as the name suggests, we now have Wi-Fi 7 compatibility. This motherboard also has 5 NVMe slots, with one being Gen 5 and the rest Gen 4, so if the winner wants to upgrade their storage, they have the ability to do so. We also have loads of I/O connectivity with plenty of USB Type A and C, which is always handy to have. I want to give special thanks to Centacom for helping us out with a 14700K for this build. While the 14900K is Intel's king CPU, we found that when testing, the 14700K was only slightly behind. However, the price difference of 250 Australian dollars just made the 14700K more enticing. The 14600K is also cheaper than the 14700K, however the 14700K was destroying the i5, and honestly, the i7 was handling Tekken 8 with a breeze. So it seemed like the sweet spot for us. We wanted to make sure that the giveaway winner had plenty of fast and reliable storage. Running at 7400 megabytes per second, the Lexa NM790 4TB drive gives us loads of space for our operating system, file storage, and our favorite games. Boot and load times will be significantly sped up compared to a hard drive or an SSD, or even a Gen 3 drive. And you can even add this to a PS5 as well. Pricing is actually really good, coming in at 447 Australian dollars or 260 US dollars. And yes, us Aussies get that lovely Australian tax. Our RAM for today's build is the G-Skill Trident Z5 RGB 32GB kit running at 6800 megahertz. We wanted to keep the style sleek to fit the theme, and with the integration of G-Skill's RGB light bar giving us fantastic diffusion, I think that it's going to fit in nicely. Being DDR5, we have fast performance supporting Intel XMP, which is fantastic and is available in silver, black or white. We want to take this build to the next level with custom water cooling. For our CPU block, we are going with the bitspower Summit M Pro. The block has been designed with 0.3mm fins to increase the cooling surface area, and with the injection design, the liquid is actually forced down directly on top of the fins for some sweet heat dissipation. Of course, we get that extra performance from that sweet RGB, and best of all, it only costs 109 US dollars. For cooling the system, I'm going with dual bitspower Leviathan 2 360mm radiators. I am keeping them at 27mm thickness to increase our work area for customization and tubing, but being single wave fins and made of copper, these will take care of the system's heat with no issues at all. They also come in at around 82 US dollars. For our fans, I decided to keep the RGB a little more discreet. I wanted accent lighting, not full-on RGB puke. The Antec Fusion 120 ARGB fans actually have black fan blades, with the LED ring being the only source of lighting, so it's not over the top. These fans also come with a controller hub to control lighting modes and speeds, which can also wire up to your motherboard. I'm really excited about the CR360 reservoir. It's one of the more innovative flat reservoirs on the market, with loads of mounting holes which allow it to fit in a standard radiator spot. But best of all, it has ports at the front side and the rear, as well as the sides, allowing users to get really creative with their water loops. It is also equipped with a Hercules pump, which has a smaller profile than a D5, but it packs a punch. It is expensive, coming in at $267 US, but considering its features, it's actually extremely competitive compared to the competition. With the new supercards out, it's hard to recommend a non-supercard. We are going with the MSI Gaming X Slim GeForce RTX 4070 Ti Super. This card has a much smaller footprint than most 4000 series GPUs, which was going to help us out with fitting more custom cooling inside. And our 4070 Ti Super was handling Tekken 8 max settings with an absolute breeze, giving us really stunning gameplay. We want to get the most performance and cooling out of this GPU, so installing a bits-powered GPU water block is something that we really wanted to do. It also reduces the card's overall size, giving us even more room to work with. Well, we've run into some issues. The graphics card, we were originally hoping for a 4080 or a 4090, but then the Super line of cards came out, and that's what the companies wanted some new focus on. So we were kind of forced to go with the Super variant. Was going to be a 4080 Super at the beginning, and then we had a last minute change to a 4070 Ti Super. Now the problem with that is that we had already ordered our 4080 water block, but I was still hopeful that maybe the 4080 and the 4080 Super had the same PCB and it may fit, because at the time there was no water block specifically made for the Super models yet. But now with a 4070 Ti Super, or whatever they're called, the water block is obviously not compatible. So unfortunately for now, we are gonna have to run the card with the stock air cooler, but maybe sometime in the future, if the giveaway winner does want it, we can upgrade the GPU with a water block. Antec jumped on board to provide the giveaway winner with plenty of juice for the system. I mean, way more than is needed. However, we wanted to get you the best of the best, and now you have plenty of power headroom to upgrade in the future if need be. This is the Neo Echo 1300 GM, and with 10 years warranty, Antec is certainly confident in their products. It's ATX 3.0 and PCIe 5 ready, which is perfect for our 4000 series GPU. It also comes in at 268 Australian dollars or 197 US dollars. So for our gameplay, it's very hard to show you guys what the performance is like because Tekken is capped at 60 FPS for a good reason. Now, many GPUs are able to hit 60 FPS in Tekken, so I thought I'd record some 4K ultra setting footage for you guys so you can actually check out the temperatures. Now, on average, our GPU was only hitting 54 degrees Celsius. Now, I think this in part has to do with the fact that our case is designed in a way that the front and the side are actually completely open, so it's constantly bringing in fresh air. Now, our CPU is averaging around 45 degrees Celsius, and that's thanks to our bitspower water cooling loop. It has two dedicated 360mm radiators, and this is allowing our CPU to perform at optimal temperatures. And now, for the final B-roll.